Hello and welcome to the Target Focus Life podcast. This week we are celebrating Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving is celebrated as a holiday that falls on the fourth Thursday of the month of November here in the United States. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about why Thanksgiving should be more than an annual holiday and how the daily practice of Thanksgiving will change your life. Are you ready? Let's go! Well, first off, just want to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I wish you all a Thanksgiving full of abundant and obvious blessings in your life. I love Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving for many reasons. One, it's a great opportunity just to get together with family. It helps bring people together to celebrate, to reminisce, to be thankful. I love that. I like delicious food. Now, Thanksgiving is not my favorite when it comes to food, but I do like some stuffing. I like ham. I like some pies occasionally, and I haven't really had a dessert in over a month, so it'd be great to have some pie. I love football. Football is just one of my favorite things on Thanksgiving. I enjoy watching a game, but more so I enjoy sitting down with others to watch the game. It also kicks off the holiday season. I don't love all of that, but I do love the traditions. I love family gatherings. I love celebrating Christ's birth. And I love Christmas music. I will admit it. I love Christmas music. It's awesome. So Thanksgiving is an opportunity to focus on all that we have to be thankful for. And that's one of the last reasons I love Thanksgiving. But I thought I would share first a brief history of Thanksgiving. But the more you dive into the story, the more you find that it might not be as clear, as accurate as history has written it. But I guess I'm not really here to debate history. So what I can say, what we know for sure, is that early settlers of this country and over the generations, setting aside to give thanks for provision has been a common practice. Well, before the tradition actually of Thanksgiving in the New World here in the United States, what we now know as the United States, the mention of Thanksgiving or giving thanks or thankfulness is mentioned numerous times in historical writings, and specifically in the Bible. In the Old Testament, the word for thanksgiving is mentioned around 32 times. To give thanks is mentioned 116 times. In the New Testament, thankfulness is mentioned around 15, and to thank around 29 times. So Thanksgiving is a common word around the holiday, but it seems like just in our culture today, a little more common word that we use is the word gratitude. Gratitude is the state of being grateful. So I'm going to kind of use Thanksgiving and gratitude interchangeable throughout this podcast. The word of gratitude is derived from the Latin word gratis. Gratitude is a thankful appreciation for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. With gratitude, people acknowledge the goodness in their lives, and in this process, people usually recognize that the source of that goodness lies, at least partially, and for me, fully outside of myself. Why is gratitude or Thanksgiving so important, though? Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about, why it's important and how we can practice it. First, why is it important? Well, in podcast 3, we talked about focus, and where your focus goes, your energy flows. If you missed that podcast, just want to encourage you to go back and listen to podcast number 3. It's too easy to get up in the morning and automatically think about all that needs to be done, and all the things you wish were different. That's just part of human nature. But when we are constantly focused on all the things that could be better, that leads to certain negative emotions, often stress, anxiety, discontentment, unhappiness. When you operate out of these states, you always seem to find more. When we turn our focus to gratitude, however, gratitude and thankfulness, it leads to positive emotional states like contentment, happiness, ease. And when you operate in these states, it's always easier to find more. If we look at positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. I could go on and on, but I'm going to try to make this episode very short for the holiday special of Thanksgiving. So how do we practice gratitude? Just a few thoughts on that today. Number one is renew your mind. How can we renew our mind? By reading and listening. So what we read and listen to repeatedly has a major influence on our life. What we consume, what we put in is kind of what we plant. And what we plant is also what we're going to reap. So we live in a world where all around us is negative. There's not enough. There's complaining. There's trial and tribulation and issues, challenges everywhere. That's normal. If you turn on the news, it's mainly going to be issues, problems. You might go to work and you might have people that are surrounding you that all they have is problems. Things are never good enough. There's always issues going on. It's complain, complain, complain. That's always going to be. We're not going to get rid of that in our world, but we have to combat that, I believe, by what we put in, reading and listening to positive. There is enough negative. Make sure we're getting the positive. So one of the ways I do that is I read the Bible. I read positive books. I listen to encouraging people. And in the Bible, I'm just going to read a couple verses that stand out to me. Psalms 107:1 says, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." Now, that was a verse that each time I had a child, which was twice, that is a verse that just came up in my head. Like, what an amazing blessing, the gift of life. And that verse came up, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his steadfast love endures forever." But that's not just for positive times. I think that is for negative times as well, to remember to give thanks to the Lord because he is good and his steadfast love endures forever. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, this is a great one. It says, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." It doesn't say rejoice when everything's great. It says rejoice always. It doesn't say just pray when things are good or when things are bad. It says pray without ceasing. And it doesn't say give thanks when you receive something amazing and only when you receive something amazing, but give thanks in all circumstances. All circumstances, good and bad. We'll talk a little bit more about that because I know some people are already thinking, how am I going to give thanks in the midst of difficult circumstances? The last verse we'll talk about is Philippians 4:6. This is one of my favorites as well, that I have personally memorized and that I repeat often. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, or by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known." You know, throughout my journey, I have had plenty of opportunities to be anxious about the unknowns. Am I going to be able to bring in enough revenue this year through the business to support my family? And it can lead me to a lot of anxiousness, to a lot of worry. And I've had to come back to this verse and say, you know what? I don't need to be anxious about everything, but I will bring these requests to God. He knows what I need. He knows what I desire. And I'm going to do it with thanksgiving. Even when there's the unknowns, even when I'm facing a challenge, with thanksgiving, I will let my request be made known. So number one was renew your mind. Put in the good seeds. We're always planting seeds. If we're not planting good seeds, we will not reap a good harvest. Number two is be aware of your thoughts. Just constantly ask yourself, am I focused on lack or abundance? Am I focused on gratitude or am I being ungrateful in my thoughts? When you catch yourself thinking, you start to realize your pattern of thought. And it's very easy to not consciously think about your pattern of thought, but just try to catch yourself. This last week, I was sick, and I was sick of being tired, and I was tired of being sick. Just a very challenging week because I was not able to have the energy and be productive like I enjoy most weeks. But I found myself really dwelling on the fact that how tired am I to be sick? And I caught myself in that after several days, I'll have to humbly admit. But I did catch myself. And when you catch yourself, you can start to reframe, bring your focus back to gratitude. So, number 3 is creating gratitude and Thanksgiving habits. I think it's important that we create good habits in our lives, and creating a gratitude or Thanksgiving habits are huge. Like, I can't say enough about them, how they have personally impacted my life. So one of the things that I do, and as I go through this list, just think about what you can do. You don't have to copy these things. These don't have to be your things. There's a lot of things that can be done. But here's one thing that I've done that has been huge: a gratitude walk. So I take the dog out in the morning, a lot of mornings, not every morning. Sometimes my wife does it. But as I walk, one thing I love to do is just walk, put my cell phone down, don't listen to messages, and just list the things that I'm grateful for. Call out the good, even the little things. You might be thinking, there's nothing good in my life. That is false. Let's call a spade a spade. That is false. Because it's really easy to see the hardship in our life, and we all go through hardships and we all go through challenges, great or little. But if you're walking, you have gratitude because you can walk. Thank you that I can walk. Thank you that I have health. Thank you that I have eyesight. Thank you that I have clean water. Thank you that I was born in the United States of America to 2 loving parents. Thank you for the relationships that I have, whether great and many or just a few. Thank you for this fresh air. Thank you for the sunrise. Thank you for the birds. Thank you for the flowers. I could go on and on, guys. There is so many things I can be thankful for. And when I even dwell on the little things, maybe you don't have, I think a lot of us want to go, hey, thank you for my house. Thank you for my car. Thank you for my job. The big things. They're very tangible things that we can see, and they're big, expensive things. But when we look at the intangible things that money can't buy, and we're grateful for those, that is where I think it really changes things. Thank you for my eyesight. Man, I'm blessed to be able to see. Thank you for the clean water. I am blessed that I don't have to think about getting clean water on a daily basis. So much to be thankful for, no matter your circumstance. So create a gratitude habit and call out the good. I think another habit can be your prayer habits. I often pray early in the morning, whether I'm walking or whether I'm sitting in the office, and part of that is gratitude. Another huge thing is writing letters of gratitude. Have you ever tried that? Just take some time. I don't do it on even a weekly basis, but I do it periodically, where I just write a letter of gratitude to someone, usually on just a note card, just to express to them and let them know how much they mean to me, and I appreciate their friendship or whatever the relationship dynamic is. Man, that really helps me focus on how much I have to be grateful for when I can write on a note card or paper and do that. Another way would be to express it verbally. Express gratitude or thanksgiving verbally in big or small ways. See all the little good things and be thankful. Someone opens the door. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. With a smile on your face. Now, I find it easier to be grateful and express gratitude sometimes to people I don't really know. And I need to work on that myself. But whether it's my kids, whether it's my wife, whether it's siblings, just to express gratitude more regularly. And I have a person in my life that's really good at verbally expressing gratitude for all the little things. And that's been an inspiration to me. And just being around positive people that are grateful, that can focus on the good and not dwell on all the negatives, because they're always there. The negatives are always there. It's easy to dwell on them. But can we dwell on the good? And it's powerful to have people around you to reinforce that habit. You tend to become a lot like the people you are around. If you're around people that are constantly complaining that everything is negative, it's always falling apart, and the world is against you, you will often find yourself right in that same mix. But surround yourself with people who are positive, that are full of thanksgiving and joy and gratitude and abundance. And you'll often find yourself right in that mix as well. So on top of being aware of the seeds that you're planting through what you watch and what you listen to and what you read, be aware of the people that you are around. Now, I'm not saying cast out negative people out of your life. I'm just saying be careful with how much time you spend around them. All right, moving on. Be thankful now, not when. So often we think it's kind of a cause and effect. Well, when I receive the bonus, I will be grateful. When I get my dream house, I will be grateful or thankful. When I get fill in the blank, I will be thankful. But I think the challenge is to be thankful now. Don't let gratitude come only when your life is perfect, because guess what? Life will never be perfect. There's always going to be something that you're going after. There's always going to be a challenge because life is hard. Life is hard. Be grateful now amidst the hard, amidst the imperfections, because gratitude leads to blessings. You might be saying, but Steve, my life sucks. And that frame of thinking, my life sucks, gets you stuck in a negative cycle, because ingratitude or ungratefulness leads to negative thoughts. Negative thoughts do not produce positive actions. They produce usually negative actions, which leads to more thoughts of ingratitude. So somewhere you have to break that cycle, and I believe that cycle breaks within. It breaks with our being, our state, not with our actions. Our actions often flow out of our state of being. So when we're living in gratitude, when we start with gratitude, we take actions out of gratitude, out of abundance, and that leads to more blessing. Be thankful now, not when. Now, there's many other ways that a person can become a person of gratitude. I would love to hear your habits. I would love to hear your ideas on how you can create more thanksgiving, more gratitude in your life. So if you'd like to share that or really anything else that you would like to see on the podcast, if you have recommendations, if you have feedback on how this podcast has impacted your life, feel free to email us at podcast@targetfocused.life. Today, guys, I'm grateful that you're taking the time to listen to this podcast. I'm grateful that God has blessed me with many friends and families. I'm grateful for so many things, big and small, and I could go on all day. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I encourage you, don't make Thanksgiving an annual holiday. Make it a daily practice. Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast or any of the other ones, please rate and review them to help us reach more people so they can live the target-focused life. See ya.